Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. The top headlines tonight. The rupee falls to a new low, nears 80 rupees to a dollar. A record trade deficit last month is hurting the rupee as exports benefit, imports, especially oil imports and foreign education costs are hit. Twitter takes the Indian government to court over the new IT rules, filing a petition in the Karnataka High Court saying that the centre is blocking political content. The government says Twitter had been given a July 4th deadline to follow Indian laws. All international platforms in India must follow these laws. Cops versus cops. The cops of two states battle again over the arrest of a journalist. The Chhattisgarh police arrived in UP to arrest a journalist. Uttar Pradesh cops intervene. The journalist arrested on a Chhattisgarh FIR over a misleading Rahul Gandhi video. Ex-judges, bureaucrats and army officers write a strong letter against Supreme Court comments on Nupur, saying the comments are a virtual exoneration of the beheading incidents. The 15 ex-judges, 77 ex-IS officers and 25 ex-army officers write the Supreme Court had said she is single-handedly responsible for the events happening in the country. A political row of the Karnataka recruitment scam. The first time an ADGP-rank officer was arrested in the scam. The Chief Minister says we have taken action against the guilty, but the Congress says the Chief Minister and Home Minister must quit. Torrential rain across Mumbai, 104% above normal, 600% above normal in Thane. Buses submerged, railway platforms flooded, and we bring you the latest on why these rainfall limits of rainfall, the number of rainfall is so much higher than normal as 4 more days of heavy rain predicted. 6 dead in a mass shooting at the Chicago July 4th parade, America's Independence Day. A 22-year-old shooter fired indiscriminately at the crowd. The president condemns, but no political action in a divided house yet. Our lead story tonight, well, the rupee is falling and falling. It's now nearly at 80 rupees to a dollar. Priyanshi has the latest on what the impact of this is. Priyanshi.
Sonia, our currency has weakened to another record low today, and this time it has gone down to 79.37 per dollar. Now, this is a sharp slump of 42 paise today, and with this, rupee has lost 7% of its value just this year, and in fact by 4% in just the last 2 months. Now, in January, you needed 74 rupees for a dollar, but now it's going towards 80. Now, what are the reasons? Global inflation, interest rate hikes, and economic uncertainty taking out foreign funds from India, and also the gap between what we spend on imports against what we receive from exports is also at a record high, what we call the trade deficit, and this is taking our foreign currencies out. Now, what is the impact? We have to pay more for our imports, foreign travel and education. And if we get you an example of a common US destination for Indian students, that is the Boston University, in January you had to pay 61 lakhs for an academic year there, but now you have to pay 65 lakhs. So the annual average US education cost for a student has gone up by around 4 lakhs or 7% just because of the weakening rupee. Now, something that hurts around 2 lakh current students and many prospective students in the United States. And the trouble does not seem to be ending. Experts say that the slump will continue, but rupee is in fact an outperformer compared to its peers. Let's listen in.
We could see even the Indian rupee get as high as 80.5 against the dollar over the next 2 months or so. I don't think it will be going below 77 in the most optimistic case for the entire financial year. So if I compare the Indian rupee against a basket of currencies, Indian rupee is a slight outperformer.
Well, let's just go across the other big headline. Twitter are now going to court against the Indian government's IT laws. Vishnu, what exactly led Twitter to take the centre to court?
Well, it is a huge development, and let's bring you details. Now, the centre set the 4th of July as a deadline for Twitter to take down specific content. Now, the centre warned Twitter that it could lose its legal shield as an intermediary. The new IT rules 2021 set safe harbour conditions for tech giants from liability as intermediaries. In fact, let me just explain that point a little bit. Twitter doesn't get in trouble based on what people post on Twitter. However, it has to bring down content if the government wants it. 2021's IT rules empower the centre to direct intermediaries, including tech giants, to block content. That's what the government is acting on. So now there have been 3 flashpoints between the centre and Twitter. In fact, more than that. A couple of highlights. In 2021, Twitter removed the blue tick verification from the vice president's handle. It brought it back, but not before it resulted in controversy. Again, in May last year, Twitter accused the government of dangerous overreach in a statement. In May last year, again, Twitter was raided by the police. And the BJP's Sambit Patra's tweet, one of his tweets, was labelled manipulated media by Twitter. Over here in the government, they didn't like that at all. So Twitter has now taken the centre to court. They filed a writ in the Karnataka High Court. What are they saying? Well, sources close to those who filed have told us that the government blocking orders failed to provide a notice to the originators of the content. Take it down is what the government says, but they haven't given notice to people whose content they're taking down. Government blocking orders are disproportionate in several cases. The government apparently wants accounts to be blocked, not just individual tweets. The government, and very significantly, according to sources, blocking orders which target political content by official handles. Where is the space, therefore, questions would be asked on political of rivals in this country, the opposition. And that the blocking orders are a violation of the freedom of speech. Sources say that Twitter is committed, of course they've said publicly, to principles of openness and transparency. So all of that they believe has been threatened. But what about the government? What have they said in this? Let's take a look.
देखो, सोशल मीडिया एक बहुत ही पावरफुल मीडियम है। सोशल मीडिया का हमारी लाइफ में आज बहुत बड़ा प्रभाव है। इसकी अकाउंटेबिलिटी कैसे हो, ये क्वेश्चन दुनिया में सब जगह अभी एक बहुत ही वैलिड क्वेश्चन बन चुका है। और दुनिया भर में देश और सोसाइटीज इस डायरेक्शन में मूव कर रही है कि सोशल मीडिया को अकाउंटेबल करना ज़रूरी है। कैसे अकाउंटेबल करें? सबसे पहले सेल्फ रेगुलेशन। किस तरह से खुद ही कुछ ऐसे कंटेंट, जिन कंटेंट से सोसाइटी में एक हार्मफुल इम्पैक्ट आता है, उसको खुद ही दूर करें। फिर इंडस्ट्री रेगुलेशन, फिर गवर्नमेंट रेगुलेशन।
Well, the other big political stories is now about clashes between police forces of different states, depending on whether they're ruled by the BJP, the Congress or any other opposition. The latest flashpoint is now between the Chhattisgarh police and the UP police over the arrest of a Z journalist for a video that Z had carried, taking Rahul Gandhi's remarks on attacks on his Wayanad office out of context and saying he had forgiven the Udaipur beheading killers. So now the Chhattisgarh police arrived to arrest him. He tweeted asking for help from the Uttar Pradesh police. He's now been taken away by the UP police. But this is part of a dangerous trend, one of arrests for what could be errors and also arrests where police force of two states are increasingly politicized.
Cops clashing with cops in Uttar Pradesh's Ghaziabad bordering Delhi. Policemen from Congress-ruled Chhattisgarh arrived early in the morning to arrest a Zee News anchor Rohit Ranjan in a complaint over a report on Rahul Gandhi on his show. Police from the BJP-ruled Uttar Pradesh prevented them. The journalist raised an alarm on Twitter at 5:30 a.m., tagging the police and Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister when the Chhattisgarh police arrived to take him away. He questioned the legality of their move without informing the local police, which soon reached the house and a heated debate ensued, ending with the Ghaziabad police taking him away and then the neighbouring Noida police detaining him.
पते पर पहुंचने के पश्चात उन्होंने जब गेट खोला तो उसके बाद वो थोड़ा सा टाल मटोल करने लग गए। लोकल पुलिस 2 लोग वहां पर आए, फिर धीरे धीरे करके वहां पर 10-12 की संख्या में पुलिस आ गए थे। वहां के लोकल इंदिरापुरम और कनीवाली चौकी के सब इंस्पेक्टर और इंस्पेक्टर ये सब धीरे से पहुंच गए और उन्होंने जो उनको हमने अपना आईडी कार्ड और आईडी कार्ड भी दिखाया और अपना नॉन अवेलेबल वारंट भी दिखाया उनको जो कोर्ट से इशू हुआ था। उसके बावजूद उन्होंने अपने को उन्होंने ले जाने नहीं दिया।
While the Noida police is yet to explain the reasons behind detaining the journalist, according to sources, a complaint has been registered at the Noida Sector 20 police station against 2 producers of Zee under bailable offences. Rohit Ranjan is being questioned in the same case.
Cases against Ranjan on the charges of spreading religious enmity were filed in the Congress-ruled states, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh, soon after he played a video of Rahul Gandhi on his show. falsely claiming it as a comment on the Udaipur tailors killers. But the video was in reality about an attack on Gandhi's office in Kerala's Wayanad. The channel later acknowledged the error and issued an apology. The video was shared by BJP leaders like Rathore, who has been charged in an FIR in Chhattisgarh. But more than the clash of the cops, the bigger issue of concern is freedom of speech and the readiness by parties across the political spectrum to arrest or file cases against critical voices. With Sukriti Dwivedi, Sunil Prabhu, NDTV.
Well, the big headline from Karnataka, where top IAS and IPS officers are being held in a major recruitment scam in the recruitment of police sub-inspectors. It's become a big political issue, with the Congress calling for the resignation of the Home Minister, the Chief Minister saying action has been taken against the guilty.
A day after Amrit Paul, a senior police officer of ADGP rank, was arrested by the Criminal Investigation Department for his alleged involvement in the multi-crore police sub-inspector recruitment scam, the opposition Congress has called for the sacking of the Home Minister Araganyanendra and the resignation of Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai.
Government itself has been involved, and government is involved. Without the government protection, such a large scale of misoperation and scandal can't take place.
Investigation by the CID has shown that the strong room in which the OMR answer sheets were kept under tight security under the direct custody of Amrit Paul has been tampered with. However, Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai defended his government, saying it was they who unearthed the scam.
They don't have any moral right. No, it is not a question of alleging. The case was filed by on the then DIG in police recruitment case itself. And the Honorable Leader of Opposition, who was then Honorable Chief Minister, did not do anything.
After allegations by candidates who gave the exam, the state government ordered an investigation in April this year and then cancelled the results of the exam in May.
But what I'm a little surprised is that it's been happening over a period, the recruitment, and things were there's no sniff about this illegalities or irregularities before. If there were signs of this kind of irregularities or corruption, then what were those signals and what happened then? Who took notice of them? I think that cannot be just sudden.
Around 79 persons have been arrested and nearly 8 FIRs have been registered. Among those arrested, police officers and middlemen. Taking a serious view of the scam, the Karnataka High Court stepped in, asking the DG Police himself to investigate the case and submit a report on the investigation by 7th of July. Shrija for NDTV.
In an extremely unusual move, 15 ex-judges and senior bureaucrats and ex-army officers have written an open letter against the recent Supreme Court comments on Nupur Sharma. The letter says that the comments are a virtual exoneration of the dastardliest beheading at Udaipur, an outrage on the preamble, spirit and essence of the Constitution of India. We are bewildered not only at jurisprudential transgressions, but also the sweep of judges at agencies' innuendo reflections about her clout. The Supreme Court had said recently that Nupur Sharma is single-handedly responsible for what is happening in the country. She should apologize to the whole country, and that Nupur Sharma faces threats, or has she actually become a security threat? So this letter written to the Chief Justice of India says that this is completely against the judicial ethos. So clearly this debate still continuing. Meanwhile, the impact on human lives continues as new details have emerged on the murder of the chemist Umesh Kolhe in his 50s. New CCTV footage shows the brutal stabbing and killing of this chemist. His brother spoke exclusively to NDTV and they said they had no enmity with anyone. Anurag Dwari reports.
21st June, 10:26 p.m. Just as Umesh Kolhe left his shop to go home, he was attacked and killed. In this CCTV footage that has emerged weeks after the murder, the assailants are visible as they turn their bikes to flee. A third accomplice is seen in this grainy CCTV footage captured from a school security camera, driving ahead and then taking a U-turn. The exact time of the murder, 10:26 p.m. But the killers moved in earlier at 10:10 p.m. and hid behind a car, waiting for Kolhe to come out of his shop. Reeling from the attack, Kolhe falls. He is seen kneeling on the ground, his son and daughter-in-law who were following him raise an alarm and the murderers flee.
The first attempt to kill the 54-year-old chemist was made the previous day. Mr. Kolhe was spared that day because he closed his medicine shop early around 9:30 p.m. The killers, having wrecked the shop earlier, had expected him to close up at 10:30 p.m.
The chemist was part of a WhatsApp group called Black Freedom, which has both Hindu and Muslim members. On the WhatsApp chat, Mr. Kolhe reportedly made some religious comments in support of Nupur Sharma. The post was shared by his friend and customer, Yusuf Khan, a veterinary doctor, to other WhatsApp groups. One of these WhatsApp groups was Kalim Ibrahim. Irfan Khan, a member of the Kalim Ibrahim, in which Dr. Yusuf reportedly forwarded the post, was incensed by Kolhe's comments. Police sources say he planned the murder with 5 others, all of them in NIA custody now.
जैसे जैसे इन्वेस्टिगेशन आगे प्रोग्रेस करता गया, बाकी थ्योरीज के एविडेंसेस हमें नहीं मिले. इस थ्योरी पे सबसे ज्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग एविडेंसेस मिले. हम 2 आरोपी पकड़े, उसके बाद और 2 पकड़े. उसके बाद हमें पता चला कि एक मास्टरमाइंड है. हमने उस मास्टरमाइंड को पकड़ा.
The role of Dr. Yusuf, friend of Kolhe, is under investigation. Was he part of the conspiracy, or was his act of forwarding a WhatsApp message really not ill-intentioned? Whatever the motive, its consequences have been ghastly.
पहले तो बिजनेस टर्म्स थे.
डॉक्टर यूसुफ
जी, डॉक्टर का तो ऐसा था, यूसुफ जी का ऐसा था कि वो भी भैया के अच्छे दोस्त भी थे. क्योंकि क्या होता है बिजनेस में, अगर आप बार बार मिल रहे हैं, रोज मिलना जुलना हो रहा है और ये हो रहा है, तो अपने आप एक अच्छा रिलेशन भी हो जाता है.
इतने साल से वो देख रहे, फिर भी मुसलमानों के बारे में ऐसी सोच रखते करके, तो फिर उन्होंने डॉक्टर साहब ने रिप्लाई में सिर्फ इतना भेजे थे उनके दोस्तों को. और कौन से दोस्तों को भेजे थे सर? उन्होंने जो डॉक्टर्स ही है कि देखो ये मुसलमानों के बारे में ऐसी सोच रख रहे, अपने को यहाँ से अब मेडिसिन वगैरह लेना नहीं है करके.
The post-mortem report of Kolhe has revealed that the stab wounds on his neck were 5 inches deep. The attack carried out to ensure immediate death using a sharp weapon by a trained assailant. The wound was inflicted at the point that targets the nerves that lead to the brain, throat and eyes, causing instant death. With Rizwan Khan and Anurag Dwari in Amravati, this is Arman Verma for NDTV.
The tragic, unacceptable beheading there, all boiling down to WhatsApp posts and comments. Meanwhile, in other news, well, heavy rain across Mumbai and parts of Maharashtra, including Thane, where the new chief minister is from, where rain was 400% above normal. In Mumbai, 104% above normal. So, as we can see in these videos, Mumbai, after all that political action and heat, today submerged underwater. As many were tweeting, what exactly does the Bombay Municipal Corporation do with taxpayers' money? And that's where we need the real change.
One more monsoon and waterlogging in low-lying areas. Why is this a recurring feature in Mumbai? That, of course, is due to various reasons: topography, weather patterns, coastal city, stormwater drainage capacity and encroachments. With Mumbai inundated again, political questions over the city's monsoon preparedness. Former MP and Union Minister Milind Deora tweeted questioning whether all the money spent on monsoon preparedness had gone into someone's pocket. Chief Minister Eknath Shinde, who visited the BMC control room, claimed flooding spots had reduced. Mr. Shinde split his party, the Shiv Sena, last week to become Chief Minister. Now, both factions are likely to fight bitterly for control of the municipal corporation in the upcoming elections.
ऑफिस में बैठकर मॉनिटर करने से अच्छा वहां जाके फील्ड पे काम करें.
Heavy rain in Mumbai and surrounding areas leading to waterlogging in several places across the city. It's rained almost continuously since Monday, and Mumbai city has received 94.2 millimeters of rain in the last 24 hours. That's much more than the normal 38 millimeters, which means it has rained 142% in excess. In the suburbs, it has rained 124.2 millimeters. The normal is 38.2 millimeters, which means it has rained 225% in excess. Bus and train services were affected, with the submerged Andheri subway and other roads closed for traffic for more than 3 hours. Areas like Sion, King Circle, Chembur, Kurla, Nehru Nagar and Top Hill also reported waterlogging.
आने जाने में तकलीफ होती, पानी भर जाते, डूबना तक पानी भर गया, कितना तकलीफ होता है, बुढ़ा आदमी कैसा काम पर जाएगा.
Beyond Mumbai, Amravati and Sindhudurg also witnessed flood-like situations. Roads in many areas of Thane and Navi Mumbai, including this road in Ulve, resembled a river. In Ghatkopar, a landslide occurred amidst heavy rains, but no one was injured. A landslide also took place in Chiplun in Ratnagiri district, where heavy rain has been forecast for the next few days.
It has been raining heavily in Mumbai. I am in Postal Colony. This is an area in Chembur in Mumbai itself, and as you could see, the waterlogging can be seen on the streets. It has entered the home of many people as well.
हम एक्सपेक्ट करेंगे कि खास करके कोंकण एरिया में एंड घाट एरिया से महाराष्ट्र में स्कैटर्ड प्लेसेस में हेवी टू वेरी रेनफॉल रहेगा. हम एक्सपेक्ट करेंगे कि मुंबई में ऐसे रेनफॉल जारी रहेगा.
With an alert issued, 8 teams of the NDRF have been deployed in Maharashtra, 1 each in Nagpur, Chiplun and Mahad, while the remaining 5 teams are in Mumbai. The Chief Minister has asked officials to be on the ground and is monitoring the situation. As soon as the tide goes out, the water will drain out. So that, of course, is the story of the Mumbai monsoons year after year, and that's what happens when you have heavy rains, especially low-lying areas like this also tend to get waterlogged. In Mumbai, with camera person Praveen G. Rohit, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.